Welcome to Manawaker Studios Flash Fiction Podcast. I'm CB Drogi. A quick note before we begin. Manawaker Studios' popular card game Dragonline is now available on Board Game Arena. Visit BoardGameArena.com to play. This week, The Path of Bones by Hannah Lackoff. It starts out as a maze of footprints, cat-sized at first, growing larger and larger the longer you follow it. There are innumerable twists and turns. The path is mostly through forest, and you almost lose it many times among the dense underbrush. You wonder how many days you had wasted scrabbling through the thorns and brambles, and if maybe it would have been easier to follow the main road. When you reach the town, you stay in an inn. No one bothers you. You have sticks in your hair, and your arms are ripped and bleeding. They think you are a wild thing, perhaps an animal adding to the footprints of the path. Perhaps they are right. On the other side of town, the path changes. You have trouble finding it at first, as you were expecting footprints so deep you had to climb in and out of them. Instead, it is hides tamped down and sewn together, staked into dirt and ground into rocks. You name them as you walk along. 1 step for a snake, 2 for hare, 3 for coyote, 5 for bear. The furs are gentle and you take your boots off. The varying thickness of the pelts are a welcome change from the unending stiffness of the inside of your boots. After a while, the fur becomes worn down and you can feel the rocks beneath it. Ancient hairs, sharp as spines, prick your soles. You put your boots back on. A vast gray expanse of elephantine leather lays in front of you. It is a river of deceased herbivore. Powdery decay fluffs up around you with every step. It gets in your eyes, your hair. It clogs your lungs until you cough and cough. Your canteen has long since dried up. You hope the next town is close. You miss the forest. The land beyond the path has turned to sand as far as you can see, which isn't very far due to all the dust. At one point, the path disappears. Years of walkers have destroyed the tapestry, and desert winds have blown the remnants away. You plod on in what you hope is the right direction, and eventually come to a walkway of jewels. It is beetles, you realize on closer inspection. Beetle carapaces turned to fossil in the sun. They glimmer green and blue and gold, and you glide along them smooth as ice. When night falls, they wink like stars, and you find a renewed vigor in your bones. You feel you could walk all night, but eventually you tire and set up camp to one side of the path, where you can watch it as you fall asleep. You have never seen another traveler, and have long ceased to worry about theft or abduction. In the morning, the beetle path is just as inviting, and you pack up quickly, eager to get back on it. There is still no water, but you feel hopeful about things to come. As the day wears on, the beetle backs dull, and the greens become browns, and the blues fade away. By mid-afternoon, your feet crunch with every step as once hard shells break around you. The path becomes rockier. The desert disappears. Everywhere is ugly and barren. Tiny trees spit up out of what looks like sheer rock. They point spindly fingers at you and shower the path with dried-out husks. You're not sure what the path is made of now. Some sort of bug, perhaps one with hairy legs and millions of eyes. It is disturbingly soft. The dark comes fast and sudden around the rising cliffs, and you set up camp directly on the path, afraid to stray too far and fall into a crevasse. You are tired, but you cannot sleep. The wind howls and sings too loudly, and you keep thinking you feel the ground move beneath your tent. It is your second full day without water. The morning is still, and when the path begins to change again, you know you are nearing the end of your journey. Mixed in with the remains of the spiders and centipedes is something white and chalky, a smooth powder which becomes rougher and sharper the further you go, splintering and crackling beneath your feet like tiny impersonal twigs. It is the stuff of legends. As the path continues, you find yourself spit out of the mountains and into a pine forest, tree trunks ancient and primeval and thicker than two of you, yellow needles slicing down with a sound like soft rain. A gentle breeze blows through the treetops, tiny above you. Soon the path's edges are ringed with a primitive fence of bones. They grow larger and larger until each one is bigger than you are. You try to imagine what they could be: whale, mammoth, dinosaur. You are so tiny compared to all that surrounds you. You are an insignificant speck of sand, one of countless others who went before you. You have never felt so important. You stick to the middle of the path where endless feet have worn the bone to filmy dust. When you stop to rest, you have to climb over the fence to find somewhere to sit that is not sharp. The pine floor is a relief, and you take off your boots to stretch your feet. Little teeth sprinkled on the trail have embedded themselves in your soles, and you must pluck them one by one, careful to return them to the path when you resume your journey. The air begins to change and the breeze grows stronger. There is a tangy scent, and it soothes your parched throat and chapped lips. It reminds you of something from long ago. It is a comforting smell, and it wraps you in its aroma like armor, and you find you can run. Your feet stop hurting, and you no longer feel the ancient fingers and toes that seek to claw through the soles of your boots. You seem to fly now along the endless rows of trees and the bleached white parchment of the path. Up ahead there is a break in the monotony, and when you soar out between the trees you see it, the ocean, vast and gray and sparkling before you. There is no bird call. There is nothing but the gentle shush of the waves against the shore. A dusk yellow stretch that crawls on as far as you can see. You slow your pace, wanting to savor the freshness of this place, the peace and tranquility of your final destination. The path has turned to sand as well, and your feet sink in gratefully with each step. As you climb the rise among the razor-sharp dune grass, you see a little cabin to your left. It sits right on the edge of the water, one end spinning out on stilts, languishing in a sunny porch. There is a figure at the end who waves. You raise your hand to her, and she runs through the door. You know what she has gone to do, who she has gone to tell. Inside that cabin everyone is waiting, and they will all be very glad to see you. You hurry now, again, although you know you have all the time in the world. This has been The Path of Bones, written by Hannah Lackoff, and first appearing in After the World Ended. The Flash Fiction Podcast theme song is by Kevin MacLeod. I'm CB Derogi. Thanks for listening. Episode 0144. Production copyright 2016, CB Derogi and Manawaker Studio.